Anyway, let's get into the conversation about Agenda 111. And the question is, what is happening? Because the Health Committee has been speaking. And in fact, before we get to that, let's take a look at Komla Kluche's story. He was in Adeso, I believe, Upper West Akim district, where we're told that some $1.3 million was given to a contractor and he abandoned the site. This was supposed to be the site where one of the Agenda 111 hospitals would be constructed. Let's see what is happening on ground.
So this is the project site for the Adansi Akrofrom District Hospital, which is under one of the flagship programs for government's Agenda 111 hospitals that the government under His Excellency the President, is building. This is the state of work. This particular one, some 10% mobilization has been given to the contractor, and this is just what he's been able to do. But will the projects be completed before the president leaves office in 2024? Well, there's an official document coming from the Agenda 111 Secretariat, which is before the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health, is indicating otherwise. Now, if you go into it, what it is saying is that the completion forecast for the projects, that 20% of hospitals could be completed in 2024, 20% of the hospitals could be completed in 2025, 30% of hospitals could be completed by 2027, and 30% of hospitals could be completed after 2027. Well, what does this mean for healthcare delivery in the country, especially when the government has indicated its commitment to ensuring that the Agenda 111 hospital project will be completed before the president will leave office?
This is what we're given by the Agenda 111 Secretariat. Okay, so for me, I think that the commitment to the Agenda 111 is not there. They have only set out to, set out a lot of uncompleted sites so that they will push the burden on future governments.
Well, it remains an unanswered question regarding what the state of the facilities will be well after 2024. Komla Kluche, TV3 News, Adansi Akrofrom.
And so that was Komla Kluche's report. He visited Adansi Akrofrom, but also the Health Committee in Parliament visited Adeso, Upper West Akim district, and that is where they discovered that some $1.3 million had been given to the contractor, but he had abandoned the site. In fact, hadn't been there at all. Let's also welcome Nanaya Chimpim Jantwa. She's the General Secretary of the CPP. Good morning. How are you doing?
Fine.
You look lovely.
Thank you. Under the circumstances, they say a brew.
Yeah, bro. They're stealing the spotlight. We'll come to that conversation. But Lerato, let's start with you. Yes, and this concern about Agenda 111. Looking at the promise the president made to us that he's hoping that by the end of his tenure, we should be able to see a completion of these projects. And yet we're visiting these sites and no work is being done. Yeah. Why?
Well, just indulge me just a few seconds. On Sunday, we all had the news of the passing of Leporal JMND Jaula, and this was someone who was a very key person in my growth. If I'm giving, I'm naming one person who's really been key in my sitting here as a person, then I will name him. So it's really a difficult one for some of us, and just want to pray that he rests in perfect, because he identified me pretty early.
Okay.
Introduced me to late Madam Hawa Yakubu.
Oh, okay.
Along the way, we lost her, and he was the same person who introduced me to the current Minister for Communications, Honorable Eslo. So he's mentored me, got me into public service because he knew I was going to get into politics, and so it's a very huge vacuum that has been created.
Our condolences to you and to his family
just to let's remind all of us to keep their family in prayers.
Definitely.
Especially his wife, Hajia, who was with him throughout when he was unwell and when we lost him. So
certainly.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala
Rest in peace
with him and
amen.
Grant him Janatul Firdaus.
Where are the hospitals?
Come again. So let's go to the hospitals. No problem. I mean, talking about him, this was a former chief director of health. And as I said here, what a lot of people don't know is I've worked in the health sector for a decade. Okay. So these things are not new to me. So when I see some of these pieces, I have to interrogate further. You showed Governor Kluche's video.
Yeah.
Who did he talk to? Was he his assessment of what he saw on the site? Or he spoke to the Agenda 111 Secretariat?
But he had an Agenda 111 document from the Secretariat.
That's what
and
I'm
they
saying.
have told us that they won't be able to complete everything.
Yes, I'm yet to see the document that is being referred to. I haven't seen the document.
Okay, the Health Committee in Parliament has also alluded to that.
But with what I get from the Agenda 111 Secretariat, and I mean, why is it called Agenda 111? It's in the wake of COVID, the president made that announcement. Later on came and also alluded to the fact that the promises made was quite ambitious and needed more work to be done. But definitely those projects will be completed because that will be a huge boost to our health infrastructure. It's 111 because it's going to be 101 district hospitals, 2 psychiatric hospitals, 6 new regional hospitals, and 2 other regional hospitals in Western region, Defia Kwanta, and another one in Aguna in Kwanta, all in the Western region. So as it stands now, about 90 sites are ongoing. Work is ongoing at various levels of
about 90
completion,
of them.
About 90 of them.
Okay. So that's an update on 3 because then the president did mention 87.
So you mentioned specific areas, and I'll come to those specific areas because we need to let people know what the issues are. The site Komla went to is what?
Adansia
Krofrom. So what I gather from the Secretariat is that a site selection criteria was given to districts. And you're looking at between 6 to 15 acres of land for a proper functioning district hospital or regional hospital. Some of the sites, the 90 going on are sites. But if you take places like Adeso, Kwabnakwa, Boase, Adansie Krofom in Ashanti region, Bantama, Asokore Mampong, Ingleshi, Jolu, Osu, Nungua, these are mainly urban areas. So identifying a site is difficult. So some of the items on the criteria were it shouldn't be hilly, it shouldn't be a flood-prone area because it's a hospital. You can have all these things. So for others, so like this, the sites, whilst they were going on, they met a rocky patch.
As they were going on?
Yes.
They started
the construction. Said the site has been abandoned. It hasn't been abandoned. They met a rocky site. I'm talking about others.
Okay.
Others, so they met a rocky patch.
Okay.
So the drawings and everything needed to be re-engineered because a hospital facility has to function. So when you go into a hospital, the first point of call is the OPD. The wards and other things, other services are. So services that are for everyone's use, both inpatient and outpatient, are sort of like interface where the inpatients are and where the outpatients are. So you meet the OPD, you go through. If you are going to be admitted, you go to the. So there's a certain level of functionality, and all these things also work to infection control and all those things that we need to watch out when a facility is being built. So if you meet a rocky patch, and it's supposed to be an installation that will affect the functionality of the hospital, then you need to re-engineer the whole thing.
So that's what we're doing.
Well, yes, that's what is being done.
After paying the $1.3 million, is that when we discovered that there was a rocky patch?
So what you don't know is what I was doing in health was project management.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is not something that.
But we're told that the contractor was given $1.3 million.
The contractor cannot
was that after or before
Bella,
we identify the rocky patch?
Bella, you get a site, 6 to 15 acres of land. You do your assessment and all that. As you go on, as you dig and do all the things that you're doing, you meet certain issues. This is what happened at Adaiso. And that is what I gather from the Agenda 111 second. So the contractor hasn't abandoned sites. Some re-engineering and some reorganization of the drawings has to be done. That is why the contractor is on site.
So he still has that $1.3 million?
Work will go on, but all those things will go on.
From how long has he had the money?
Listen,
and why?
Bella, you see, when it comes to health infrastructure, right, nobody has to embezzle our funds. Nobody encourages that. But when it comes to health infrastructure, we need to be very careful how we deal with it. You get it? You have your drawings. You positioned it in a certain way, right? You get to a point where you have to do an installation. The rocky patch will not be able to sustain it.
You have to re-engineer. We do all this before releasing money to a contractor to move on to site to start work?
Why didn't we do all what?
You are telling us that we discovered a rocky patch.
When you are doing,
by that time we are designing the project already.
When you select a site to do build even normal buildings, when you do the soil testing and all that and testing, it's not everything that you pick up. It's a large tract of land. It's a different case where they've abandoned site totally and there's no explanation to that. This is what has happened at Adaiso.
Okay.
For Kwabnakwa, if anybody who lives in a mining enclave knows how rocky those places are and the kind of cutting you have to do. So the site for Kwabnakwa in Obuasi they had to do some cutting because of the nature of the land.
But we should have known all this before selecting that site, did we not?
Bella,
do that work?
If you heard me right, there are about 90 sites ongoing. If you go to a place like North Gonja, the Daboya area, there's a site there. The site has no issues. Work is ongoing. If out of 111, 90 are ongoing, why are we not talking about the 90? There are issues. So
all 90 of them are ongoing, you are saying?
90 of the sites are ongoing at various levels of completion. And I'm not giving you this information from me. I'm giving you this information from my engagement with the Secretariat. So
90.
these are information that you can verify from the Secretariat. And I must also...
Did they give you a list of these districts where all these 90 are ongoing?
I just got to know this morning that we are discussing Agenda 111.
You got to know this morning?
Yes.
How?
You can ask Daniel. So
Daniel did not give you the details yesterday because, to be fair, I believe that everybody got the information yesterday.
I didn't have the details.
Okay.
I didn't have the details.
So I had to your team, by the way. So whoever was supposed to furnish you with the information,
but the information I'm giving you is from Agenda 111 Secretariat.
Okay.
That's why I'm mentioning specific areas and I'm telling you what is happening in those sites. So these are information you can verify. And I mentioned those sites. Some sites are totally just too small because of the urban nature of the place. So what they are doing now is re-engineering the drawings, repackaging the contracts. And the contractors are due back to site latest in 3 months' time.
Okay.
Because all this work needs to be done. The architectural drawings, the engineering drawings, all that. Because you need a functional hospital. You don't need an hospital with your OPD somewhere and your inpatient somewhere and your facilities.
At what point did we discover this problem with the land at Adaiso? Was it after we had released the 1.3 million to the contractor or before?
Even normal. For the release of funds, what I know, and I need to, that's what I'm telling you, I need to get a proper, but this is because specifics were mentioned.
Okay.
as for the funding and all, that's why I'm saying that the document that you're referring to, I haven't seen it. The document
But
should
it's
have
confirmed.
all those details.
It is confirmed.
You said it's a document that was given to a health committee.
So it was given to the health committee in Parliament.
Yes.
Yesterday, Dr. Kwabena Minta Akando confirmed that that is actually a document that they received from the Secretariat.
Yes.
And in fact, that is where it said that only 20% of Agenda 111 will be completed by 2024.
Yes.
Did you find out from the Secretariat if this is true?
I haven't seen that document.
Did you ask the Secretariat? You said you were in contact with them this morning.
It's 90%. 90 of the sites are ongoing at various levels.
When will they complete?
If 20% of that will be completed in 2024, that is it. Because there are challenges with these things.
But that goes against what the president said, that he's hoping that all of them will be completed by the end of his tenure.
Yes, he's hoping. He's hoping that all will. But if you go and get a site that needs more work than even the construction, you can't force it. Even when you're building, on a normal day when you're building, you can build to a point. Someone can come and lay claim to the land you are building on. It will stall your project. Issues come up as you do. That's why in contracts for some of these projects, you have clauses for force majeure and all those things. Issues come up when you do it. These sites that were selected with a criteria, but some couldn't meet it. So you need to re-engineer and do all these things. If it comes out that any contractor, from what I'm telling you, no contractor has abandoned site. You can't be working with old drawings when new drawings are being re-engineered.
So we paid for the new drawings?
And the contractor has to be repackaged.
So did we pay for the new drawings as well?
If you had a contract with the person to probably build on a flat land, and now the person has to do a hilly land, take a rocky patch and all that, it all comes with cost. So the repackaging of the contract will determine some of these things.
So how many of these lands did we have to let go of to find a new one or to re-engineer?
Some of them, okay,
how
so
many do you have
the ones I know is Adeso, Kwapnakwa, because of the cutting, they had to limit cost, so they had to re-engineer. Adanse, Akrofum, Bantama, Sokore Mampo. There's a site in English here, Manfrom, one in Jolu.
Okay.
There's Nungua, and a couple of them.
So in total, maybe about 7 or so.
No,
we've had to re-engineer them.
Yes, about.
Does it mean that we're spending more on re-engineering and redesigning? Are we spending more?
The contract will determine all that. The work that goes into the re-engineering, that will determine the work that the contractor has to do, will determine it. So once those repackaged contracts are out and the contractors, so within 3 months latest, these contractors should be back on site. So I believe that in another 2 to 3 months, Kwabena Kluche can go back to the sites that he went to and let us know if work is going on or not.
Nanaya.
Yes, please.
I mean, what do you make of the explanation that Lerato is given for why we've had to re-engineer some of the lands that we acquired for Agenda 111?
Good morning, and good morning to your viewers. Good morning to
So Bella, there's no additional design fees.
No additional design fees. Okay. And this is from the Secretariat. They are communicating with you. Okay.
They're not communicating with me. I took notes. That's what I'm referring to.
But I asked you earlier. And you
yes, so
sure.
I missed.
Nana, by the way, did you get the topic today or yesterday? Just to be sure. You got it last night. Okay.
Good morning to your viewers. Good morning to my people, my comrades in the CPP. Good morning to my friend, Honorable Lateef Abdul Dan, MP for Ablekuma Central. And good morning to yourself, your lovely self, and my lovely sisters here. Beatrice, when I saw Beatrice, I said today, fine. And my own Lara too.
Yes.
Who, the way she's struggling, she's going round.
She's asking specific questions, and I'm giving projects.
The point is that
these are projects.
The point is that you know how to do a project. I know how to do a project. Fortunately, we have liberated women who these days we do our own thing. We build, we do everything. Before you enter that land, you should know what you are going to face. Even as a private home, if your land is waterlogged, you need to do something before you start building. You cannot tell me that the place was rocky and you got there before you knew the place was rocky. Do you remember the health minister came and told us that even getting land for Agenda 111 was becoming challenging?
Yeah.
So it means that they didn't even have a plan. They just got up and they said Agenda 111. I heard Bantama. Bantama is a suburb of Kumasi. Is it a district? Why should Bantama have a hospital?
No.
Is it within a district, which is why maybe they situated it in Bantama?
Bantama is very close to G.
Don't let
Confanochi.
No.
So why Bantama?
Just
please just
okay. You let her land. I'll let you. Don't worry, I'll come back to you so you can respond. You let her land.
Let me finish.
Okay.
G station.
I am saying that I live in.
Yes.
I am a Kumasi girl, through and through. I'm not like periphery Kumasi girl. I was born in Kumasi. I lived in Kumasi. I walked the streets of Kumasi. If you say you are going to build a hospital in Bantama, why don't you use that money to rehabilitate a G? We call it G.
G is a Confanochi.
Confanochi, that's how we call it.
Okay.
Do you get me? Walking from Bantama, the area of Bantama to Confanochi, it's not any long distance.
You can literally walk to.
I mean, like getting a car to Bantama from G to Bantama, it's not far. So why do you place a hospital in Bantama? Number two, this government spoke about Agenda 1. They said they used 18 months to finish. When we spoke about it, they said, oh, they have some appropriate technology that will enable them put up the building so fast and all that. What happened? Are we not past 18 months?
Well, the president came back and said that was ambitious, to be fair. So he was looking at us completing it by the end of his tenure.
How can you say it is overambitious? Because you have a team. You have people who work for you. Laratu here is saying that, I mean, she's a technical person. She was in project management at the Ministry of Health. So if really you know what you're about, or you truly care about Ghanaians, you will not just come and throw it as use it for your politics, then come back and say it's overambitious, because you have a team. You have people, AESL. I don't know if they are even used. There's AESL, architectural engineers and something. That's, I mean, the government wing of the Ministry of, that look after these buildings, the drawings, everything. They'll give you advice. You have the Ministry of Works and Housing, the Health Ministry. They have a project management team. They should be able to tell you that, look, Your Excellency, this is overambitious. This will not work. Let's do it ABC. You see, it's as if everything that this government does, as if, I mean, like, we are just there. They come and tell us what they want. If a government tells you that they did wrong, that is tantamount to what? Ineffectiveness. Because how can you come and tell us you are overambitious when you use the same thing to campaign? That same slogan, Agenda 111, use it to campaign. Now Laratu is saying that they have finished 90 hospitals.
No, she said they are at various levels.
What levels?
They are ongoing. She cannot say what levels because 90, she doesn't have that.
We should know the levels. You see, this government is very, I don't even know what to say. Look at what is here. It is just like the National Cathedral. It is just like the National Cathedral. They dig pits and they dig boreholes and all manner of things, and they just leave it, abandon it. This is just like the National Cathedral. Meanwhile, money has gone into it. Somebody has collected money. An engineer has collected. This is just like the National Cathedral, where they have spent 139 million Ghana cedis. Meanwhile, there are no schools in villages. Young boys and girls should what? Use canoes to cross rivers to go to school. Some children died. Yes.
Yeah, 2 days ago.
Yes, and we are using money, wasting money. Agenda 111. I heard that the COVID funds, some money was used to get some holding centers, and it has been abandoned.
And we are not using them.
We are not using the $14 million. I mean, what kind of life is this? What kind of life, my dear? Where are we now? Where we are now has never happened before. It has never happened before. Where are we? They just tell us we are going to do this and they won't do it. Every time sloganeering. That one, they are very able to coin it. They'll give you a slogan right now, Agenda 111, this, that. But when they come to the actual work, they are not prepared to do it.
Secretariat says we could see the completion of some 20% by 2024.
Please, do you know, did you listen? Could. Could is not absolute. It is not definite.
But projects are not absolute.
Do you get it? You said that
Projects are not absolute.
No, when
projects
you
are
run a project, you run it. That's why you monitor.
I am
as
telling
you
you that
go on.
you said that.
It's not like the moment you say I'm building a house, it's cast.
Okay,
It's
all right.
cast in
Please hold on.
stone.
Let
You
Nanaya land.
said could. 18 months you gave us a deadline. You say 18 months you are done. We talked about it. Everybody said it's impossible. The government said it is possible. These are naysayers. Yes, and today you say we call that Sambalat and Tobias, that we are naysayers, we are negative. And we said it is not possible. Even my own house, your own house, you cannot use 18 months to finish. The house itself, even when you build, it has to settle. You need to know what is right, what is wrong. You need to look at the design. Sometimes you have to even break and all that. Now you have hit a rocky patch. Why wouldn't they hit a rocky patch? They are always hitting rocky patches. In everything that this government does, even IMF, they are hitting a rocky patch. This is the first time that, yes, Ghana has gone through IMF program 17 times. This time when we thought that we will never go back. They promised us. And now we have hit a rocky patch. It's not even smooth sail. Even they can't even borrow money. Yes, borrowing money is problematic. Everything that they do, we hit a rocky patch. Building a cathedral, even dealing with God, we hit a rocky patch. Why? Dealing with God, Jehovah himself, we hit a rocky patch. So how can we move on?
You don't think that we can get the 20% completed by 2024, like the Secretariat is saying?
Bella, how can you believe anything this government says unless you have seen it? You have to use your eyes to see it before you believe. You see, if you have faith in these people, you get a heart attack.
Oh.
Yes, so the best thing you have to do is to always watch and see. Watch and wait. So that you don't go getting any heart attack in these hard times. Where we cannot even have access to our own investment, our own financial investments. So you watch and see because you cannot. Bella, you cannot believe what they tell you. You have to wait. So Bella, don't use words that will come back to you because it is possible they haven't even started anything.
Well, we've seen videos. There are certain places where.
Are you sure they are not existing hospitals?
We're told that somewhere at Chinderi, I believe that should be in the Kachin.
Is it a health post? Is it a health post?
We're told that there's work ongoing there as well.
Is it a health post?
It's one of the district hospitals. But
I don't want ongoing. I'm saying that how many of them have they finished? They gave us 18
They said
months.
they cannot finish till 2024.
Why? But they gave us 18 months.
Oh, but that's what I'm saying. That the president himself came back and said 18 months is not achievable. But give us till 2024.
I am saying that have they even evaluated the program to see whether it is we need those hospitals? Because if you say that
you don't think we need those hospitals,
dear, if you say that we really need those hospitals, then you will quicken your steps to do it. I'm telling you. You will put priority to it. You won't spend money on things which are not necessary. You got $3 billion out of COVID. COVID did not hit us as hard as it hit other countries. You couldn't finish it. Where are you going to get money to finish it when we are broke? When you want to depend on my investment to salvage the economy? Where are you going to get that money? Please, my dear, tell me. Where are you going to get that money to finish the 20%? When you got the opportunity through the COVID funds. Have you seen the report on the COVID fund?
Yeah.
It's so nauseating. It is so nauseating. So where are you going to get money to do that? When today even your borrowing agenda with the IMF is getting into trouble. You are hitting rocky patches in your borrowing agenda with the IMF. So where is the money? They should come and show us the money that they will use to build the Agenda 111. The 20% will finish in 2024.
Well, we know that there was some $100 million that
where was it?
Was secured. It came from the Ghana Investment Infrastructure Fund.
So where is it?
We were told that that was a startup fund that they were investing into Agenda 111. Later we'll respond to that later.
But before this one goes, you see, when Nanaya talks about why you're not putting the money in G, that's Komfano teaching. There are levels of, you see, when we come and sit here, we also have to educate, we are not mislead people. There are levels of care. Komfanochi is a teaching hospital at the tertiary level. In some places, they have the fourth level is the quaternary level of care, like specialized care. There's a referral policy in the health sector.
But the question then is, why did you not use the money to rehab these places, to refurbish them? It's that simple. But let Beatrice come in, please.
There are levels of care and proximity to facilities based on population.
But fix what you have first before you put up new ones.
My father,
Beatrice,
let's be careful when we put some of these things out.
Please, my father, F.A. Jantwa, right? He was with Kwame Nkrumah. They fought for independence of this country when my father was sick. Right? And I went to visit him before he died. The doctors gave him a certain prognosis to die within a certain time. And I wasn't around, and when I came, I went to visit him at Komfanochi. Do you understand me? And this is very close to my heart, because when I saw him, when I moved, he died. Yes, and I always said he was waiting for me. When I moved, he died. After I've seen him, the doctor said that when I got there, his vitals moved. And he asked me who I was. But I am saying that when I got to Komfanochi, I was disappointed.
Why?
Because of how the place was. My father was in one of the best wards, but it wasn't good enough. Komfanochi has an outpatient department.
This was how many years ago?
This is about 2 years ago. My daddy died 2 years ago. He was 100 years. He stood to fight for independence for this nation. They liberated this nation. And I am saying that when F.A. Jantwa was laying in that hospital, that wasn't the place for him, but he was there. This is a man who fought for the independence of this nation. But if that hospital is well resourced, if that hospital, it is good. So why go spend money and build a hospital in Bantama when people go to Komfanochi and the facilities are no good? That is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
It is not about being a referral. There's an outpatient department in G.
No,
okay. Please let Beatrice speak. To be fair, please let's allow Beatrice to speak. Beatrice, where do you stand on this? I mean, of course,
every health facility.
I'm sure that government will not be too happy, especially with opposition and constantly hitting at the fact that Agenda 111 has not been completed. What do you say?
Let me take a big sigh. Yesterday, when I was sent the topic, I was preparing. In the middle of the preparation, reviewing the documents, I just went to sleep.
Why?
Because I don't want to get BP over the MPP mismanagement of the economy.
Are you not exaggerating?
We are tired. You see, I am tired as a party communicator. Sometimes every party will have its own scandals. Every party will have certain things that will not go right in the administration. We will discuss it. The party will take steps to remedy it. But in this government, it is becoming too much. I am tired. And you see, even in their incompetence, they are dishonest.
And arrogant.
It is their dishonesty and arrogance that even, I don't know how to describe it. And this morning, I'm very sad as a Ghanaian, not only because I am a member of the NDC, but I've had many friends of mine, at least 3 friends who have had to lose their lives in their quest to bring another life into this world. And when you have a golden opportunity for monies you did nothing about, that we were asked to use to fight a pandemic that threatened the very lives of the citizens who voted for you, you saw the opportunity to amass wealth, engage in corruption, and not do anything about it in the most unconscionable manner. And the presidency, as well as the secretariat and the party communicators, keep lying about the project. You know, Bella, they have made the point that the challenge with Agenda 111 are varied, that the first one has to do with land acquisition. That is a lie.
How is that a lie?
These are post facto rationalization because the government could not achieve its purpose. In 2022, when the government was presenting the budget to Ghanaians, specifically at paragraph 1012, they think that when they put it at 1012, many people will not read. At paragraph 1012, they told us that they have identified land for 91 sites. And in fact, even cadastral plans for these 91 sites were ready. Then in 2023 budget at page 408, you come to tell us that you are struggling with land acquisition and documentation and topography, and there is a patch or whatever. So in 2022, when you said that cadastral plans were ready over 91 sites, were those sites in the skies? I mean, the MPP government should take us serious. And you see, if you look at the amount of money they have sunk into this project, and they have left it in the states as we are watching on the television, well, I'm just sad.
How much are they sunk? Because as far as we're concerned, it's just $100 million that we're told had been secured.
The MPP government is one of the most unserious governments the Fourth Republic could ever have. Do you know that the seed capital for 111 hospital, which is 100 million, was the same amount they used to buy sanitizers and nose masks in 2021? How do you say that you want to embark on 111 hospital and you earmark a seed capital that you use the same amount to buy sanitizers and nose masks? I'm very angry this morning. In 2021, in their mid-year budget review, they said that they had spent 600 million for Agenda 111. In the document the Minister of Health presented to the committee proving the COVID-19 expenditure is dated 16th November 2021. An additional 763 million has been spent.
Cities you're talking about. Okay.
Has been spent. Then when you come to the 2022 budget, they further spend 518 million. If you do the addition, almost 1.9 billion cedis have been sunk into this project that we are seeing. Look at the project you are seeing on the side.
But this is just one out of how many?
One out of
our ranking, and together with the members of the health committee, went to more than one site. And we are even being told that for where I come from, Nungwa, they can't even find land. So where are the sites? They should give us the sites where they are working. So a vague statement and some, verbal, I don't even know how to describe it, that we are working and there is work ongoing. This is the work. You have used 1.9 billion cedis. You have mobilized it and given it to your party members, and they are not on site. And the president, in the most arrogant manner, came to tell us that, oh, I will finish under 111 and commission all before I leave office. And they think nobody will see. When they got to Parliament, they told Parliament that, you know, the president lied in the State of the Nation address when he said that he will be able to complete all the hospitals, and that even for 2024 we can only do 20%. In that 20%, Bella, they are telling Parliament that they need $300 million. And you see, sometimes they want to control the narrative and say that the NDC is just like the MPP. The NDC is nowhere close to the MPP. In fact, the only similarity is that we are all political party. But when it comes to capacity, when it comes to who has compassion for the people of Ghana, when it comes to who wants the right things to be done with the limited resources, nobody should make a mistake and compare the NDC to the MPP. Because Bella, the NDC has been in power before. The only crime of President John Mahama was that in his quest to build a 6,000 bed hospital across the nation, he did not find a slogan to quantify these hospitals. That he believed that as a compassionate leader, as a leader who has been a grassroots politician, in your quest to build hospital, you build. You don't just come and read speeches, you build. So what did President Mahama do? President Mahama built a 617 UGMC hospital. Today, it is there for everybody to see. His only crime was that we did not say that Agenda Greater Accra. President Mahama built a 420-bed Rich hospital for the people of Rich. Phase 2 is on hold since this government came to power. Nothing. Closest to Ridge, they are allotting 400 million to build a cathedral, which has become a fish pond. In the Upper West region, a 160-bed regional hospital. Go to Bolgatanga, a 360-bed Bolgatanga hospital. Go to Ashanti region, the Ashanti Regional Hospital in Sewa. If you come to District Hospital, you have the Dodowa Hospital, the Abetifi Hospital, the Chifopraso Hospital, the Medina Hospital. Varied hospitals. These were the development, and these are not hospitals on paper. These are hospitals which are operational. My sister had the surgery at Ridge. Dodowa Hospital, I had been there before. Last 3 weeks when I was sick, I went to UGMC. These are hospitals that are living with the people in the community. Because we did not commission it and target Agenda 111, they came. And their only defense was that the monies which were used to build the UGMC, the Rich hospitals, were inflated. 7 years, they are in their 7th year. They have not been able to tell us. They only engage in the propaganda of inflated projects.
Beatrice,
and they can't even do 10% of what
to be
President
fair,
Mahama
would
did.
you admit that even the idea to build district hospitals all across the country is a good thing?
Where is it? Is it
No,
an
but
idea?
even the idea to build, to provide hospitals for every district
Bella,
is a good thing.
We are not living in an utopian world. You see, if you were any serious president and any leader worth his salt, before you come out to speak, and I'm surprised that Laura says she's a project manager, because the first thing a project manager must do is to do a feasibility study to see that given the availability of lands or otherwise, given the availability of resources or otherwise, can I do this or I cannot do this? Because what is the use of giving $1.2 and $1.3 million to various party food soldiers with hospitals which are supposed to be dugouts, and saying that, oh, because I have the idea, it is good? You know, we have to get serious as an African country, because the president, when he travels with the luxurious private jets, sleeps in one of the most luxurious hotels. When he's driving on the streets, or when he falls sick and he goes abroad for a medical checkup, does he not look around at the hospital to see that other presidents did not spend the money and squander it and give it to contractors who will not mobilize? Does he not see that it takes a leader to build a nation? And especially when you had your predecessor who was on a medical drive. You know, in all these hospitals I have mentioned, it's not just that too. The NDC government took steps to embark on a 246 million health infrastructural changes. And so when you go to Kolebu, you realize that we were changing some of the equipment and all that. And they have made the argument that the big hospitals will not serve some communities. When it comes to even CHIPS compound, the NDC government completed 1,200 CHIPS compound, with over 1,600 at various stages of completion. Since they came, they have abandoned it. So even
what would you do if the NDC comes to power? Would you continue with Agenda 111 if in case 2024
when
the NDC comes to power?
When the NDC comes to power, we have even said about the free health care for the base. But when the NDC comes to power, the first thing we would do is to conduct a forensic audit of the monies which have been squandered, the 1.9 billion cedis which have been squandered. And every party foot soldier who have had the benefit of this money will vomit it. Because
they'll vomit the money.
They'll vomit it. Wherever they swallowed it, they'll vomit it.
So that puts the project on hold while you do this forensic audit.
You have to put it on hold and do the
if it will take another 2 years, 3 years?
It doesn't have to take 2 years. You see, we have to come to a place where everybody, whether in NDC or in MPP, must understand that public funds are for public use and not for private use. And until we send those right signals, the MPP government will continue in the man. Is it not too consistent? Look at the monies and what is happening to the cathedral. That 3.5 million cedis will be given to buy paper tissue. That some way, somehow, contracts have already been awarded to contractors and paid, but another 2.6 million will be awarded for mobilization. Is it not becoming too much? Are we not tired? Can't we just come together and with one voice tell our government that enough, we are suffocating?
I'll let you hold on. Just hold on, Lerato, I'll come back to you. But then we're told that there's a press briefing that's happening at the NDC headquarters right now. We're not sure who is communicating at this point, but let's take a look at that quickly. We'll come back and continue the conversation and also talk about you know, the changes that have been made in the leadership in the NDC in Parliament.
First, let me say that I'm deeply honored and humbled to have been chosen to lead our gallant NDC minority caucus in Ghana's parliament. I wish to use this opportunity again to thank the leadership of our great NDC party who have placed their trust and confidence in me. I am also deeply grateful to our colleagues, the rank and file of our great party, the NDC, and the people of Ghana for their profound support and solidarity. I have held fruitful and positive conversation, in fact, frank conversation, with my senior brother, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu. I commended him for his admirable leadership and stewardship when he was granted the opportunity by our great party to lead us. As leader, it will be my duty to represent our collective goals in particular, with an unwavering dedication and most importantly, with high integrity. I have no doubt that with the support of the entire minority caucus in Parliament, we shall succeed. May the God Almighty guide us and bless us all. But let me also add that our first responsibility is to unite the caucus, and that will be number one on the agenda. Things of this nature happens, but obviously there's the need for us to show leadership, and we will do just that. Most importantly, I will focus the next month to tackle three things. First, I wish to first of all send a message to the MPP that the people of Ghana are calling on them to downsize their government, to reflect the mood of the country. You are asking people to forgo their coupons or interest. You are asking the ordinary Ghanaian to sacrifice his payout. And so therefore, if His Excellency the President intends to reshuffle his government, let it be known that we in the NDC will not accept an attempt to increase the size of government. And if the current size of his ministers increase by one, that one person may not receive our cooperation. And in the end, we also wish to assure the people of Ghana that as part of our engagement with the Finance Committee and the Health Committee, we have agreed to do public hearing on the audit of the COVID-19 expenditure, public hearing, beginning on the 7th of February 2023. At that point, we will pay due diligence to the duties given to us as the people of Ghana. And then finally, we will also embark on a roadshow where we will galvanize the people of Ghana and educate them on the meaning of what this economic crisis is going to take us through. But to conclude on this matter, I will appeal to the rank and file of our great NDC party to keep calm. Members of Parliament are in good hands. We will work with them with due diligence. Obviously, we are not new in this house. I've been in this house for 14 years. I know the capabilities of all our colleagues. Some I met, some came to meet me. I have worked closely with most of our colleagues, and I can assure you that together we shall succeed. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, permit me, take my voice like that. I have not been well for the past one. We intended it not to be in the question and answer form. This is the first time the new leader is addressing the press, and we are all witnesses to what is happening in the country. It is his duty to hold the caucus together, the party together, and the country together. So this one is just to pass through you, like I started, to call for calmness and coolness to prevail. He has a roadmap on how to meet the various caucuses and those who call the shot in the party. And he started yesterday. He went to some individual houses, including the old leadership, including my good self. So we will not want a situation whereby it will be the normal press conference of the questions and answers. And I believe, as members of the Parliamentary Press Corps, who are well versed in broadcasting Parliament, you understand it better than my good self. So if you accept my candid opinion, and that is the opinion of the minority leader, we bring proceedings to an end. Thank you very much. And may God bless us all. Thank you.
All right, so that is the incoming minority leader for the NDC. And remember that changes were made quite recently. I mean, we're told that there will be some further engagements. Yesterday, there was a statement that was released by, Honorable Agboja. And he said that a meeting that was supposed to take place today had been moved to Tuesday. So we weren't sure if they were going to accept. But let's go back quickly. Komla Kluche is having a conversation with one of them.
He's already spoken about meeting with Haruna Idrisu. He's also spoken about how he intends to have a roadshow. He intends to talk about how he's been able, or he will be able, to galvanize the base of the party, especially in Parliament. He also spoke about the fact that the inquiry into the COVID funds that they are going to have, which is starting on the 7th of February, they are really going to be doing a public hearing on this for the public to know exactly what it is that will be amazed, especially when it comes to...
All right, so we will get into this conversation shortly, but let's wrap up on Agenda 111, because I know Lerato wanted to touch on this. But Lerato, coming to you, we have La General Hospital that is still on the ground at the moment as we speak. As we speak, community members have complained that they have been waiting for that hospital to come up so they can go there for medical care.
Yes.
If nothing happens, they're going to turn it into a football park. These are people who are worried that there was a hospital that existed, you pulled it down. It was actually a polyclinic. You pulled it down, said you were going to complete it within a certain number of months. Nothing has happened to it. And here we are talking about Agenda 111, and we don't even know the head and tail of where we are going.
You see, the fact that Agenda 111 is on board doesn't mean that the budget for the health sector is all in being used for Agenda 111. The plans of the health sector, Ghana Health Service and all the other agencies under the health sector have a budget. The budget that was read in 2023 covered all those places. So let's be putting the issues in context. You see, if Beatrice decides that she's going to throw, and I keep telling her, when it comes to health projects or health infrastructure, you need to be very careful how you politicize it. She mentioned Sewa Hospital. Sewa Hospital was started in 2008. She's talking about Dodoa Hospital. Dodoa was part of a 7-hospital project.
Yeah.
Only Dodoa was finished by them. Fomena is now being finished. So when you are talking about health infrastructure, you need to be extremely careful because that touches on every individual. And decisions that go into deciding on sites, deciding on siting a hospital, depending on the level, a lot of consideration goes in there. So let's be careful. Throwing figures out there, hospitals are not cheap projects. You can't just, the moment you put the infrastructure there, that's the brick and mortar, whatever, it's there. It can be used as everything, or it can even be used as a classroom until equipment goes in. And that's always the most expensive part.
So it's an arduous task to put up a hospital, you're saying.
So
if that's the case, why did we put timelines?
Can I go on? Can I go on?
No, but it's a question I'm asking you. You have admitted here that it's not an easy thing. It's not a walk in the park. Why do you put timelines to it when you're sure you will not be able to complete it?
Can I finish my point? Then
I've asked the question.
You get
Please
this question. Let me finish. I'll answer your question. You see, when Beatrice says she's surprised, I say I'm a project manager, and when you're doing projects and all that, I'm surprised. That means she doesn't even understand what project management is. And she sits down as a lawyer. She applies project management to how she even goes with her cases. And even with legal cases, there are certain points you get to a point, you know that judgment, you're almost getting nearer to judgment, and you have to change a plea. It's all part of project management. When someone comes to see her, the person comes with an intention. She decides whether to take the case or not before she starts digging into it. Along the way, she can find evidence. People go to court all the time and new evidence. No, she needs to understand that when you are talking, you get it. That's what I'm saying.
You have to conduct a feasibility study before you even dig the ground.
Credibility, you need to be careful.
No, but
Agenda 111.
Hold on.
Listen.
You have to conduct a feasibility study before you even start
giving
out money to contractors to go onto the field.
Heat of COVID.
You don't do that. You don't do that, and then now you release funds. The contractor is not on the field, and you're telling us it's because along the way you discovered a rocky patch. Is that a fair argument to make when Ghanaians have their monies invested in this?
In the heat of COVID, there were lots of interventions coming up. One of the interventions that was identified was our levels of care and a deficit in our healthcare infrastructure. The president came out, that was his 8th COVID address, and said, we're going to build 8 district hospitals to make up for the districts that have no hospitals. Don't forget that from 1992 to date, we haven't had the same number of districts. New districts come up just as constituencies. So we have a gap of 8 districts that don't have hospitals, and that is affecting the various levels of care, especially when it comes to the primary health care level. So the decision was taken that this gap needs to be solved. The technical people got to work and even realized that when you go to places like Ashanti region, because of population dynamics, you need to set district hospitals in certain places for accessibility of the populace. So the number increased to 101. We needed 6 regional hospitals to take care. And I was talking about Konfanoche. Imagine having the whole population around Konfanoche at Konfanoche. What can they do? as a teaching hospital if they have to be handling primary and secondary healthcare issues as a tertiary facility? You get it. So these things are on. So when it comes to health facilities, the money, the money when it comes to health, you see, when you want to, if you say that facility 1, the whole project is a package. A quantum of money was voted for Agenda 111. 101 facilities. So if a quantum of the money has been disbursed, all these ones, the 90 that are going, because it's quite amazing that out of over 90 or about 90 that are ongoing, Beatrice herself alluded to the fact that they said 90 of them were going. So what did she make out of the other 11 that were not going? Sites were selected. Some were rejected when the survey and all those things were done. But it got to a point that those sites that were rejected in some of the urban areas, that was the only sites available. What do? You re-engineer them.
Okay.
You reorganize the package.
And you couldn't have figured that out
before. So all these things come. And contractors also come with their challenges. So when we are talking about health things,
including abandoning the project,
thing about being sensational and throwing figures out,
they come with their challenges, including abandoning the project.
I'll be the first person to say call anybody who has embezzled taxpayers' money to fund. But has anything like that come up?
So that $1.3 million, it was not released to the contractor?
Which contractor?
It was not released.
Which contractor?
The contractor that was contracted for the TheBigIssue project.
TheBigIssue. And what was the explanation I gave you about TheBigIssue?
So it was
released. They have the challenge.
So the 1.3 was released.
Of course, he's done some work.
All right.
For nothing at all. Digging has been done on that thing.
Let's take a break.
To site.
Let's take a quick break.
Understand how these things
Let's take a quick break. And when we get back, we'll continue the conversation. We'll also go into the issue of the NDC and the changes they have made. We've heard from the incoming minority leader, and he seems to have accepted the positions, already acting in that. Welcome back. It's still the big issue, and in the studios I have Nanaya Chimpim Janswa, the General Secretary for the CPP, Lawyer Beatrice Annan, a member of the NDC's communication team and also a member of their legal team, and Lerato Musa Saka, a member of the NPP's communications team and a senior project manager.
And then the consultant of Agenda 111.
Come again. Don't talk about.
Which position?
Board member.
Board member of Agenda 111.
No, she secretary.
But are you mischievous?
Anyway, let's move on now. And
your mind.
We don't have too much time, so I wish that we could go straight into. Well, yes, we have added some extra time, but we have to go into the next issue. Okay. If you have nothing to say about Agenda 111.
I want to say that Efia Kwanta Hospital is built on a hill. Was it on a hill are rocky patches? Do you get me? And I also believe that when the president was talking about the district hospital, maybe he had in mind cheap compounds, which he thought that you could. Yes, I mean maybe there were cheap compounds they're talking about.
Oh, how?
Yes, of course, it's a cheap compound that you can build in 18 months, one of them. So maybe truly in their minds.
They were even doing 6 regional hospitals.
I am saying maybe they had cheap compounds. Because how can you build? There's 6 regional hospitals where you can't even use 18 months to finish.
Okay, all right.
So maybe in their mind,
district hospital is 14 to 18 months.
14 to 18. A district hospital, 14 to 18 months.
They had cheap compounds. When you
have everything,
when you have the money,
set.
that is the you have the land and the money and everything. But now that you don't have the money, you don't even have land. How do you this?
Beaches.
So the point I want Beaches to also comment. I thought it was my time.
Yeah, but I wanted us to quickly comment on Agenda 111. I'll come back to you shortly. I just wanted so just about 30 seconds.
The impression being created that some expertise in project management is the reason we're in the mess we find ourselves is most unfortunate. The reason is that, you know, I am a bit passionate about this topic because, you see, you have a government in power. When it comes to teaching hospitals in Ghana, the NPP does not have one teaching hospital to their credit. Not one. When it comes to regional hospital, the NPP does not have one regional hospital, apart from the one the colonial masters built. In the Fourth Republic, every teaching hospital, whether expansion, the regional hospital built, has been built by the NDC government. And so when it comes to the issue of hospitals, district hospitals, that is what they have attempted, and we are seeing the rocky and patchy sites, we are being told, because of project management expertise. And so when it comes to the issue of health of Ghanaians and the party that prioritizes the health of its citizens, it is the NDC and not the MPP. For the MPP, every project is a profit-making venture. Otherwise, the party or the government is in its 7th year. And Bella, is it not shameful that in all these discussions, they are not able to mention one hospital, one, that when we came, we built one, even though we could not build 111.
They're still in power, so wouldn't you rather wait for them?
7 years, 7 years.
Maybe if they go out of power after 2024, then you can ask them again.
In how many years was even the UGMC, a 617-bed built?
Okay.
Chips compound, you can't point to any. I've told you, we built 1,200.
Points made on that. Yeah.
So the debate about which party is compassionate, the debate about which party has the health of its citizens at heart, the debate about which party has women and health care of women at heart, I think this morning should be settled that there is no basis for comparison. And it is a shame that much as government is supposed to be in continuum, this government has taken us 40 years back.
All right. Nanayak, back to you. There's a shake-up in the NDC parliamentary leadership, and we heard 2 days ago that, you know, the party leadership itself had made some changes with regards to who would be minority leader. So since 2016, we've seen Honorable Haruna Idrisu take up the position as minority leader in parliament. He's the MP for Tamale South. Now, just 2 days ago, it was announced via statements that Dr. Kesel Atufosin, the MP for Enyan constituency, is now going to be the minority leader. This has caused some confusion. He's not the only one. In fact, 3 people have lost their positions in parliament. So the then minority leader, the chief whip as well, lost his position, and the deputy minority leader. What do you make of it, looking at the fact that we've just seen a press briefing from the incoming minority leader at a time when we're told that consultations should still continue?
Bella, you've mentioned the word consultations. And within any political party, there should be democratic centralism. And especially in a party that has socialist tenets. There should be cohesion, inclusion, that we should all agree on a certain path and we should all go that way. Of course, you won't get it 100%, but some level of consultation should have been done. When somebody is in leadership, it is not necessary that the person should stay there forever. That's why we have elections. That is why people are voted and voted out of power. But before that process goes on, General, you call him General Chairman, he's my person, but this one he didn't do well.
General Sedin Kitia.
Yes, because he made example of how changes have happened from the polling station upwards. But those were democratic. They were voted for. So if for any reason you believe or the party believes that the leadership should be changed, I think there's a process that they have to go through to do that. We are all talking about government not consulting. And if, as part of our democracy, one wing of the democratic dispensation being a political party doesn't consult internally, it is problematic. Because I don't know how they call their group. We call it the Central Committee. There is no way in the CPP that you would get up and say that you are changing somebody at that high. For instance, if we were in power or we were in parliament and we have a leader in parliament, you can't just get up and say that you are changing the person. You can't? No, you cannot. In our party, you can't. You can't.
Who do you consult when you do that?
You go to the Central Committee.
Okay.
Even you have to go to NEC. It is a party-wide thing. At a point, you have to go to Congress to tell them that this person, we believe A, B, C, D, with cogent reasons why this person has to be changed. But what is happening? There is confusion. There is some form of chaos. Why? Because of consultation. There wouldn't have been anything wrong for Chairman Netiedun Ketia to consult even the parliamentarians.
But they said they consulted the senior members.
It is not. But
of the party and in Parliament.
No, but which senior members, if they are voting in Parliament, who votes? Is it only the senior members? When it comes to this, we talk about a minority caucus or a caucus. I don't see them as a minority, but a caucus, an opposition caucus in Parliament. So you need to consult them. This is a parliamentary process. There are different wings, there are different structures, there are different. It's the word is not clear, but there are different wings in a party. And when you are touching any of the wings, you need to go in there and consult them, give them respect, tell them that this is what party wants to do. You should have a meeting, and that when he is the chairman of their FEC or their executive NEC or whatever, I do not know, but I don't know how they call this, but he is the chairman.
There's NEC and SEC, I believe.
FEC.
Okay.
He's the chairman of the party. Do you get me? And if you're chairman of the party, there are other people who are with you. You have your general secretary, you have your national organizer, you have your first vice, second vice, you have all of them. You have your youth, your women's, and they constitute the FEC, and maybe in their case others. So they should be, you should sit down and decide, write your minutes, sign, general secretary will sign that this is the decision. Then you take it to the next level, that this is what we have decided, or we think this is the way to go. Then you argue it at the next level. Then if there's a need to move on to the next, then you move it, so that there's no acrimony. You do not create acrimony, because you see, even the Constitution, Article 55, it tells us that we should have democratic tenets and principles within our political parties. It is key, because if you do not do that, then you bring acrimony. And I believe that the general secretary should have also talked to.
He's not the chairman. No, you're talking of Fifi Kwete.
Fifi Kwete.
Okay.
You see, Fifi Kwete should have also made sure that he insisted that there should be broader consultation. It is difficult to be a general secretary. You need pupillage. If you were a general secretary, I got pupillage. I got pupillage from the two of them, the two men that we met. I don't know about Janet, but I did.
Okay.
When I entered there, you see, when you enter there, you might have worked and had all the experience. I've had all the experience in public service. I've done everything, but that arena is a different arena. So you should have pupillage, so that it's not every time that if somebody says do this, then you do it. You should be able to also be a guide to your chairman and let him understand that A, B, C, D, let's go through this. You see, there are so many ways of killing a cat. You arrive at the same place. You arrive at what you want, but in a cleaner fashion.
Okay.
So that there's no chaos.
But in this case, we're told that some minority members have also signed on to the fact that they accept Kaysel Atuforsin as their new minority leader, and they accept the changes that have taken place within Parliament.
You see, there's nothing wrong with the personality. Do you get me? There's nothing wrong with the personality as Kaysel. Let's not bring in personal things.
Okay.
It is the process that was flawed.
Okay.
It does not matter who is there, as long as the person has the wherewithal to be there, so that you avoid acrimony. Did you listen to the chairman of Haruna's constituency? Look at how angry he is. Granted that he spread this anger throughout the constituency and throughout the region. Look at the bitterness that will come up. It will seep into the political fabric of the nation. It can even spark anything. The people of Aswansi, they are upset. But if you did some consultation, even with leaders in their constituencies, this is politics we are doing, and spoke to them and said A, B, C, D, E. Because then if you make the arguments that they gave, that going forward, the argument is going to be about the economy.
Yeah.
If it's going to be about the economy, then it means that the people who are going to come up from CPP everywhere should be economists.
Should all be economists.
Because whoever is there, even if you are not the leader or you are not the person who has been voted into power, you still have the opportunity to talk about the economy. That wasn't a very tenable thing.
Okay.
But I believe that there should be some democratic principles that has to be adhered to. It can be corrected.
Okay.
They should go back and have that meeting for everybody to know that there is some democracy in one of our political parties.
Beatrice, some 60 NDC MPs all signed to reject the change in leadership. I mean, for a party that has constantly called out the MPP for failing to...
I haven't seen any.
You haven't seen? I actually even have a list. I have seen a list of the MPs who are all rejecting the change. Now, for a party that's constantly calling out the MPP for not consulting before going ahead to make certain decisions and to also implement some policies, how is it then that within your own party, your own members are saying you refuse to consult them before making these changes?
Okay, thank you very much, Bella. I think that the NDC is a very great party. The NDC had shown over the years that when it comes to a tenacity that any political party should have, we have it. The NDC has gone through very momentous moments as a party. Now, I appreciate that nobody is calling or is concerned about the change. But the concerns of the people who say they were not consulted are valid. This morning, my briefings are that consultations were made before the decision. Maybe they were not broad enough. So those concerns are valid. But I personally think that the challenge we are having now is that we have too many competent people in the NDC, and sometimes that's the difficulty when you have a very fine gentleman like Honorable Haruna Idrisu, a person I consider a mentor. He has great clouds and he's held the minority for the past 6 years that he's been the minority leader. Then you have another maestro like the new leader, Honorable or Dr. Ato Forson, very fantastic CV, in fact, many of the scandals in the MPP and the expenditure and all that have been unraveled by him. You have a difficulty because when you change, these are two solid men, and so that is the difficulty. But I know that consultations will go on. I know that the party has reached out to Parliament, and in the matter of few days, all these challenges will be resolved. But the most important thing I want to say to any NDC member watching me is that the NDC has a very crucial election come 2024. The election is not just about the MPP and the NDC. The election is about the rescue of the soul of the nation. And so as a party, we need to come together. As a party, we need to know that we are going up against a group of people who don't care what the tenets of democracy are. But whatever the feedbacks, I believe that they are appreciated, and with time you realize, and I'm happy to hear the new minority leader say that he's had consultation.
So he's accepted the position. He's going forward with it.
Oh yes,
clearly
he's
from how he's
accepted. Yes, he's
speaking.
accepted because he's had a press conference and the speaker has been communicated to. So,
but there are various factions who are asking that, you know, they reject this decision that has been made by the party.
No, they are not various factions that says they should.
They are not?
If you look at the MPs, their challenge has been that some of them were not consulted, and so they didn't know about it. Consistently, everybody has maintained that they do not have a challenge with the new leadership. It's not like they have some personal things again, and everybody recognizes that the party has the rights to do
so. But party members have taken umbrage, because if you look at Tamale, for example, we went there, we saw how they were very upset about this, and they're asking that you reverse the decision.
Yeah, so that's why we are calling for cool heads, that when decisions like these are made, we recognize that as a party, and we are a Congress. The NDC is made up of different people. The beauty of it is that we are a Congress. And so different people will hold different opinions. But at the end of the day, we have to recognize that the collective NDC, the corporate NDC's interest, and for that matter, the soul of this nation is at heart. Okay. And so we need to rescue it. And so we'll come out even stronger.
Larato, what do you make of this challenge that the NDC may be facing at this moment?
When we say the alternative is scary, this is basically what we mean.
The alternative is what?
It's scary.
Scary.
So now the alternative has become scarier, because a coup in 2023, a coup in 20, you know, when new executives were elected, my reaction was, we are back to Genesis.
How so?
And that is what we are seeing. Revolution. Obey before complain. They don't care about what another person says. Look, I was listening to Dr. Ayine.
Yes.
And the man was so overwhelmed. At a point, he had to quote the constitution to allude to how decisions in a party must be democratic because they have democratic in the middle of their name. But are they practicing democracy? It's an outright no. Consultation. Did I hear Beatrice say further consultation? Wow. If we consultations are, these are the people who were shouting. Anything you say and you don't consult, you don't listen. You don't do this, you don't do that, you don't listen to people. You are arrogant, you are this. Even in their small party, they couldn't consult.
They consulted. They just
consulted
didn't consult.
who?
They said they consulted senior members.
They consulted who?
So there was some level
How
of
many
consultation.
MPs did you say have signed on to?
Well, not signed on. They rejected it at a point.
How many have rejected? 60. Who is Honorable Atufosin going to lead?
He says
Parliamentary.
The main thing he will do is to unify the party.
Who are talking about lack of consultation is the people he's going to lead. And when they were pushed, they said they need someone to lead, an economist to lead. Why not Honorable Adongo, if they are looking for an economist? He's the one that will be branding as the
Dr. Kesela Sufosin as well has been very instrumental
we saw him
in issues of finance and economics.
His predecessor at the Censure Motion Committee. Please don't let us even go there. We don't let us go to that level. He went to sit there. He
I think
say the things that he wanted to.
I'm trying to understand what
they are talking about. Ghanaians, you've seen it. They cannot even consult their own people. How much as mere
But you see, Lerato, I mean, at least the NDC is reshuffling.
Bella.
At least they are reshuffling.
Bella,
what about the NPP?
Have we come to complain that our leadership has a problem?
When are you going to reshuffle?
Why do
your finance minister?
When are you going to reshuffle? You don't need to reshuffle your ministers. You don't need to reshuffle.
Don't use the NDC as a yardstick because they've shown that they are running a revolutionary thing. When we have to go. An economist, if they are looking for an economist, then Dr. Dufour will be the one they should be choosing as flag bearer. And if they are choosing them, then obviously it goes to the conspiracy theory that because Dr. Kwabena Dufour mentioned that he was going to make consider Honorable Haruna as his running mate. That's why he's being victimized.
He said that.
Yes.
Anyway, okay. We have to go at this point, Lerato. We have to go. We have to go. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ladies. Let's take a few comments quickly before we go. So first one. Good morning, Bella. The NPP led by the visionless, super incompetent President Nana Akufo-Addo always preaches virtue and practices vice. Vice versa. Okay, so President promised Ghanaians he won't operate family and friends government. What are we seeing today? He also said he will use the ANAS principle to fight corruption. He's now chasing ANAS. Bella, let's remind the president of the La General Hospital before talking about some Agenda 419. Oh, it's Agenda 111. This is from Triddles. Okay. We should be asking Nana Akufo-Addo the status of 350 senior high schools he promised to build in his first 18 months in office before asking him about Agenda 111, aka Agenda 419. Prince Henry from Kuforidia. Everything about this corrupt government is deception and corruption. They will speak nicely and deliver poorly. Nanado and Baumia are a disgrace to Ghanaian politics. That's quite harsh. Abasa Mogobo. Good morning, Bella. This Agenda 111 thing is just talk show by the NPP government. Could it be NATO, like a member of NPP said? In fact, we want JDM back. He is the talk and do president. Oh, but Honorable Alan Chamanti too says he's a talk and do.
GTP.
Bella, Agogo midwifery school kitchen closed down for 2 semesters now. The students are feeding themselves upon paying for feeding. This is Ellie from Odoko official town. That is very sad. Good morning, fellow Ghanaians. Please, Agenda 111 was and still is a good policy. But with this current economic situation we're facing, I suggest the government puts a halt to it and concentrate on improving the economy. All flagship programs should be put on hold for now. Review free SHS policy because it is impacting negatively on the economy. That's Alan from Binduri, Upper East Region. I mean, we've been told as well that cathedral should be put on hold for a while. That means they'll be halting everything. Oh. What are we going to
But if you
construct?
mismanage the economy,
Anyway, we have to go. Thank you so
Chop
much.
the money.
Beatrice Annan is a lawyer. She is a member of the NDC communications team. Nanaya Chimpim Jantwa is the general secretary for the CPP and chief project manager. Lerato Musa Saka, a member of the NPP communications team. We'll be back. There's a conversation with Roland and Cookie about kinkonomics, the state of the economy in your pockets. We'll be back to have that conversation. Keep watching.